NFL season has been filled with flags. There have been a record 730 accepted penalties, the highest total in league history through 3 weeks, according to Elias. The previous record was 716 penalties in 2005. Ryan Clark hasn't left us yet. We appreciate that. How big of a problem is this, seriously, for the NFL?
It's a big problem because it makes games look sloppy.
Yep,
it makes it look unprofessional. The games last forever. They're impossible to watch. But the other issue is it's everybody's problem. The NFL wants to put in rules. I've met with the competition committee, and you meet with them and they say, okay, we want to put a rule out for this and we want to do this. And now you can't pull guys off the pile for a fumble. You can't touch a receiver ever down the field. So you have those issues. And then you look at where the penalties are coming, it's false starts. That's a player penalty. You need to know the snap count if you're on the offensive line and wait for the ball to be snapped. Watching Aaron Rodgers is fun, but does any quarterback in the league get more free plays than he gets? Because people just jump off sides and then they run everybody down the field. He throws it up with no consequence.
Tell him that.
Tell him. And you know, and he's like,
you listening? You're doing your computer over. You're not.
I'll take what I can get because I know you're jumping off sides
over here.
So it's becoming a situation to where it needs to be coached better. But we also have so many rules now in the NFL and referees, so many points of emphasis coming into every year. You watch Clinton Dix the other night. He makes a hit on Jeremy Maclin. It's with the shoulder to his shoulder, and they immediately throw the flag. That's probably a play that when it comes to fines, they'll say, oh, that wasn't the right call. So then there's calls on the referee. Everybody needs to get together and start to solve their own problems. Stop looking at the referee, stop looking at the players or the NFL saying, well, you're making me call these things. You're making me err on the side of caution. Players, understand, do your jobs the correct way. Some penalties are going to happen because sometimes you're going to get beat. You're going to have to hold Michael Bennett or Justin Houston because they're too fast off the line. But a false start, that's something you can control. Jumping off sides, that's something you can control. You need to do those things. Those things need to be coached up and fixed because this is a professional game. We want it to look professional.
Well, if you're saying that, Ryan Clark, then why are there too many rules? The fact of the matter is that it seems to me like the same rules were always applicable. Not to say that there aren't new rules, because we know there is. But the point that I'm trying to make is that when you talk about offsides penalties and things of that nature, and you're highlighting the lack of professionalism guys show because their lack of discipline in really applying the rules, then why are we talking about there are too many rules? Why are we not saying how these guys are not being coached well enough?
I said it's an everybody problem.
But to me, I don't know if it's a league problem. And the reason why I don't know if it's a league problem, you know you can't jump off sides. You know stuff like that. You know you can't have false starts. You know that. So that the last time I checked, that rule existed back in, what was it, 2005 when the previous record was 716. It existed back in 2000. It existed back in 1995, 1990, 1985. The list goes on and on. There's a whole bunch of rules that have been in place, but those rules seem to be similar. If they had a breakdown of exactly what penalties were being called, I think we have.
I got it.
The most is offensive line holding.
That's what I didn't see that in here in this story. I'm sorry. I just feel there was 730 penalties last year. It was 661, so it's up 69 from a year ago. I saw those numbers, but I would like to know what the breakdown is, because if we find out that it's rules that have been in place for generation that these guys are breaking, then to me that speaks more to the coaching. If it's new rules, then it is a combination of maybe the coaching and the fact that the NFL may be just adding too many rules. Y'all see where I'm going?
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
By far the most, these are accepted penalties, not just called, but accepted. 154 holding penalties. That's by far the most. Second most is false starts accepted, 119.
Holding and false starts. How long have those rules been around?
You do realize, though, Stephen, I said that.
You did?
I said that. I said holding and false starts.
I'm pointing to what you said. I'm saying to you that ain't about the NFL. That's about coaching.
No question. That's about players taking responsibility as well.
Listen, I was ashamed of my Dallas Cowboys at Philly. They had a franchise record 18 penalties, and a whole bunch of them were false starts, some by Jason Witten. I don't know what he just jumps on. I don't know what he's doing. Okay, is that a CBA problem because practice is more limited now and you don't have as much time to work on this? Because this is just rudimentary ABC stuff.
But Some of the, I would say this, the physical stuff could be. You don't get to have as many one-on-one blocking sessions. So you look at holding in that sense. That
just
could
false
be a thing.
starts. Just stay on the snap count.
But false starts, I don't need to go out and practice a lot to make sure that when Tony Romo tells me it's on 2, to leave on 2.
It's
That's
simple.
Nothing, and for Jason Witten, a 10-time Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I don't get it. And holding. Okay, now we're back to the Shaquille O'Neal syndrome. When he was in his prime, he was just, he was unreffable because he would get the ball in the post, you remember this, and he would just fall backwards and power backwards toward the basket, and he was either charging or getting fouled. Which is it? I don't know. Well, a lot of this holding stuff, you literally could call it on every play. Maybe 3 or 4 players are holding, right?
Right.
Because it's just this tug of war. It's this battle for ground, you know, sacred ground. And I don't know how you ref it. It's almost unreffable. You don't want to just flag every play, but you probably could flag every play.
Right.
I don't know how you mandate that from the league because they don't want blatant holding on every play. But then it's supposed to be an offense. The game's supposed to belong to the offense. You want to score more points. Well, then why have you called 154 holds? You know, maybe you should just let it go. What if you just let them hold?
Well,
right?
well, they're taught to hold. They're taught that that's the way you block. You get your hands inside and you grab cloth. And so what's happening, though, these athletes on defense, when you talk about J.J. Watts and Justin Houston's and Ndamukong Suh's, these guys are unblockable most of the time. And that's why these things are happening. But Stephen A. makes a good point about the coaching. Guys have to be coached up in certain situations to do the right thing. Offsides and false starts, that's not coaching. A lot of those other rules are, and it's an emphasis on those things. It's also picking the right players. You got to find guys that can get these things done. And either they're not out there from what we're seeing, or they're not being picked and put in the right position by coaching. And that's why I say it's an everybody problem.
The last point, to bring up your point about the CBA, remember that would have that would fall on the players as well.
It would.
Because one of the arguments that they made was to have less practice in terms of contact. So these are the kind of things that ultimately are a residual effect of it not practicing.
Are we heading toward legalizing holding? Just legal. Just say you can just grab.
No, I don't believe that.
Because I think once you legalize it, it goes to the point where they don't even try to conceal it. Guys are getting run by. They're grabbing jerseys from the back, and then it becomes an injury problem, which the NFL and NFLPA are trying to protect players.
It'll be interesting to see how the league responds. Ryan, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate it.
You know, Stephen A. approved of my suit, so because he's always on me, catching me in the hall. He's like, oh, I don't know about that, brother.
About that.
You know, so
well, right now it ain't even about your suits. I think you like trying to look like Ray Lewis with the muscles coming out of, you know, all of that stuff. You see how big Ray Lewis
out, guns out.
Somebody. Ray Lewis on Monday Night Football looking like he still want to hit people.
Yeah, every time he puts his arms like this, man, he swole up.
He even touching Steve Young and tripped over. I'm like, Ray, calm down. Calm down.
All right, moving on. We're going to talk about arguably the face of the league who had quite a few flags called on him off the field this offseason. Brady with another win this year, but the latest one was in court. No, we have to talk about this. There's a reason why Stephen A. will tell you after the break.